use what we've applied about area to find volume. I need to change my color. Hold on 1 second. That's better. Okay, so let's look at this problem. The radius of a quarter is 1.2 centimeters, and the thickness is 0.175 centimeters. That's actually true because I looked it up to make this problem. What is the volume of a stack of 5 quarters? Tell me what to do.
What is the definition of volume?
What is the definition of volume?
How much can we fill up? How much is inside?
How much is inside of something, right? No, area is like painting your house, right? It would be the paint on the outside of your house. The volume is what's inside the house.
How much you can fill the house up with water.
Yes.
The amount of water is the volume.
Yes. If you were to paint a pool, the paint in the pool would be the area. The water would be the volume. Okay? Yes. Okay, so, all right, guys, let's come back on track. So somebody mentioned something about 5. I'm not going to give you a formula. We're going to figure this out. Somebody give me some strategies. You don't have to have a formula. Just give me some strategies. Yes. Perfect. So 5, the thickness would be 5 times 0.175, correct? Which equals 0.875. That tells me how tall this is, correct?
5 times 2.4.
Why 2.4? So we would take the diameter of this quarter and multiply it by how tall it is? That would give me a sheet of paper. Why? Why would that give me a sheet of paper? There's no depth to it. If I just take a line, that's what this is, right? A line, and multiply it by height, isn't that just a box? So the box, well, not a box, it would be literally a sheet of paper. Right there. Why, Devin? Why would we times it by pi? That's what you do with circles. Because that gives us the whole area of the quarter. So if I find the whole area of the quarter and I multiply it by how tall the quarters are, it's like doing this. I have area of a quarter, and then I give it height. Doesn't that fill it? That make sense? I would do the radius. They gave me the radius.
So the area times height.
So, and you'd have to square it. So let's come up with the formula. Volume equals what? Well, let's come up with a generic formula, not a specific formula, because those don't help you, right? Because then you just have a bunch of formulas. So what is volume? Don't talk about the circumference. What area? The area of what, though? Not just circles. A base. The base, the area of the base, right, times the height of it. But sometimes bases have height, so let's use big H. That makes it easier, right? So in order to find the area of these 5 quarters, I would just say, well, what is the base area of a circle? Pi r squared. And we already know the height, because we just multiplied it by the thickness, right? So I'm going to put 1.2 in and square it, and multiply it by 0.875. This is 5 quarters. We already figured that out, right? We said 5 times 0.175 equals 0.875. And you get 4.52 times 0.875 equals 3.96 centimeters what? Cubed. Squared would be the area of the quarter. Cubed means we gave it volume. Okay? No. This was just, I wanted to use a real-world example. And I'm using this example, and you'll see why at the very end. Find the volume of the triangular prism. So what's the volume formula again? Base times the height. This happens to be a triangle. And it's going to be multiplied by how tall the triangle is. And instead of doing that, I'm going to do this with like arrows. You know, like this is that right there.
Yeah.
So what's the area of a triangle? Half base times height. And you guys talked about having too many formulas. Didn't I explain to you that it's just, this is y, base times height, cut in half of a triangle? Right? So it's not really a new formula if you think about it conceptually. Times big H. What is the base of the triangle? And what is the height of the triangle? And what is the height of the figure? 25. Put that in a calculator and you get 1,500 centimeters cubed. Ready?
So you did the base of the rectangle or the base of the triangle?
Remember, bases are opposite figures that are congruent. That's what makes a base.
You got big H, 25%.
But they're not opposite, they're not parallel. These are the parallel bases right here. Right?
So you did that times 25?
I found the area, not both of them, you wouldn't find both of them. You find the area of the base, and then you multiply it by how tall it is. Okay, the weight of water is 0.036 pounds times the volume of water in cubic inches. How many pounds of water would fit into a rectangular child's pool that is 12 inches deep, 3 feet wide, and 4 feet long? First of all, we're talking about weight and volume, right? So I would have to find the volume and times it by the weight to find out what the weight is, right? Because that's what it's telling you. The weight is this times whatever the volume is. That's how you find the weight. Good, so we're going to find the area of this rectangle, right, because this is the base. Actually, on this particular problem, you could say that these are the bases, right, the top and the bottom, or you could say the front and the back are the bases, or you could say the sides are the bases, depending on which way you want to stand this thing up, right? So it doesn't really matter as long as you pick one. On a triangular prism, it does matter. But on others, it doesn't. So, how many pounds of water would fit in the rectangular pool? Okay, we have one problem here, though. What's my problem? Feet and inches. Which one are we going to convert?
Everything to inches.
Why? Hold on, James. Why everything to inches?
Well, because you can't convert 12 inches on
1. 12 inches and 1 foot. No. Look at the problem. Read the problem again.
Okay, all you have to do is
Thank you, Precious. They want it in cubic inches, so you've got to change it to inches. So 4 feet is how many inches?
46 feet. 48.
3 feet is how many inches? Okay, so let's do the problem. Volume equals base times the height. Okay, so how do I find my base?
48.
Base times height times however tall this figure is. What's my base? 36 by what?
48.
48.
12 inches is your height. So you said 12 inches is height.
But like I said, you could have done it a different way, right? Don't all of these interchange?
Why is 12 a big height?
It doesn't really matter. If I wanted to make it this little tiny side right here,
No.
I could do 36 times 12 and then multiply it by 48 inches too, right? It would fill it that way too, right? It's all going to be the same. I could turn it on its side even, right here, and put that on the ground and then fill it up. But that would be a really skinny pool, right? Okay, so the answer to this one, if you put it in a calculator, uh-oh, you took it all the way though. 20,736 inches cubed. Now I need to multiply that answer by 0.036 because this is the weight of water. So it wasn't really that bad, right? 746.5 pounds. Good job, guys. May I go on? All right, find the volume of the cylinder to the nearest tenth. I think we can do this pretty quickly. Volume equals what? Base times the height. What is the base formula for this figure?
Well, it has to get with
Pi r squared times however tall it is. What is the radius of my figure? 1.8 squared times what is the height of my figure? 1.8. Put that in a calculator and you get 18.3 centimeters cubed. Yes. Let's look at this one. Figure it out. Tell me what to do.
Let's see. You're going to use pi r squared times height in the circle.
Okay, so volume is pi r squared times the height, because it's a circle.
The height is 15.
The height's 15. Okay.
Now first we have to find the radius. Now it could be...
Yes. We need the radius, so why don't I just find the diameter? Diameter, let's draw a picture. Diameter 15, 17. So d squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. 15 squared is 225, 17 squared is 289. Subtract that and you get 64. So D is 8. Right? Square root of 64 is 8. So the diameter is 8, therefore the radius is 4. So you just cut it in half. Easy mistake. 753 feet cubed. Ready for the next one?
No.
Let's look at this. This is called an oblique cylinder. An oblique cylinder means that the bases are the same, right? But the figure is just slanted somewhat. Let's go back to our original example. When we had the quarters, wouldn't they be the same volume if we just made the quarters slant? So wouldn't this have the same area using the same formula? Right? So volume equals base times height. What's the base area of that base? Pi r squared. And what's the height of that figure? 25. The only difference with this is you're going to have a slant height and you're going to have an actual height. So if they don't give you the actual height, you're going to have to use what? Pythagorean theorem. Right? If they give you the slant height, you're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem to find your actual height of your figure. Okay, so what is my radius? 15. So my answer is 17,671.5 feet cubed, and we're done.